I'm sure you have some questions. If you had watched my previous video about my Japan apartment, you would know that I said something along the lines of this. Might be moving, that's a whole thing. It's just, that's a whole other can of beans. Turns out the said can of beans was moving in with my boyfriend of about a year, him dumping me a month later to focus on work, and then not even a month later, him moving on with his business partner, yoga instructor. So I guess he is focusing on work in a sense. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Laura, what does this have to do with anything regarding this video? I'm sure you didn't, in fact, ask that question, but it doesn't work. The lead up to the story doesn't work otherwise, so. I live next to a train now. I really didn't think about this. I'm gonna have a hernia. So, again, jumping back, why do you need to know any of this kind of personal information? Well, when I was going through my phone, deleting all memories and all traces of said ex-boyfriend, I came across this photo. I had completely forgotten about this photo and this experience because this was single-handedly the worst experience I have ever had in Japan. So I thought to cope with now living alone separately from the person I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with, I would tell you the story about how the one time I was a hair model and it was absolutely a f***ing nightmare. At this point in time, I had only been living in Japan for a couple of months. But, like many people know, when you're trying to learn a second language, my listening and hearing ability vastly outperforms my speaking ability. There's a truck! I couldn't say anything, especially if I am in a stressed panic situation. It doesn't happen at all, it doesn't work. When people were speaking to me, I was able to understand them, I just couldn't say anything. It's a problem. Our story begins with a steel company, yes, a metals manufacturing company, who was manufacturing and starting a new product of kanzashi. And kanzashi essentially is a fancy hair pin thing. You make a style and you stick it in the style, ta-da, fancy. So this is where we run into character number one. So Manager-san was going around to a bunch of different places that employ foreigners, specifically looking for foreign women that had long hair. So Manager-san contacts my place of employment and was like, hey, you got any girls with long hair? Then my place of employment was like, we got a red one and a blonde one. Manager-san was like, cool. Mind you, this guy wanted to work with and employ foreign workers, and he didn't speak remotely any English at all. Not even an attempt was made to use Google Translate or anything like that. He was, sending emails in full-blown, like, Keigo Japanese with kanji I've never even seen before. I had no, in Keigo, I don't understand Keigo at all, so I'm just kind of like, So I get somebody from my school to help me translate the messages, and finally I get his line so then I can message him using Google Translate from my phone. And so me being me and being anal retentive and wanting to know all the details of a situation and just wanting to be in control of everything all the time, I sent him a lot of questions. The questions being like, so do I need to bring any specific clothing? Do I need to bring any makeup? Does my hair need to be in a certain condition? Pre-washed? Like day after hair wash? Like what are we doing here? So he tells me, don't worry about your makeup, come with clean hair, and you just need to wear a shirt that you would be able to like pull down or wear off your shoulders because we're doing a like décolletage style shoot. So day of the photo shoot comes, I get in a taxi, tell the taxi driver the address, and we're off. The taxi driver pulls up to this address, and we're in the middle of a valley, surrounded by mountains, with nothing for miles but tomato fields. And I'm standing in front of a building that's just, it can only be described as a prison block. It's just cement with no doors on the ground floor, no windows, and windows on the second floor, no entrance, and then next to it is this little coffee shop. I'm standing in the middle of nowhere, essentially thinking, I'ma die. I think I made a grave error of judgment. Wouldn't be the first time. I'm calling the manager, trying to get him to pick up to be like, what is happening? And no answer, no response. I call him like 3 or 4 times, nothing. And of course in this situation, I'm more worried about the fact that I might be late for the photo shoot because I'm the first girl up, so that if we're late with me, then it's going to ruin the entire schedule for the day, and I'm going to give a bad impression because I'm representing my place of work. So I go over to the coffee shop and I tap on the window, and the worker's very confused as to why at 7 a.m. a random white woman is banging on the window. And I pull up the initial email with like, we are doing a photo shoot at this location. I'm thinking, oh thank God, like maybe we're working at the coffee shop, or like it's nice weather outside, maybe we're doing an outdoor photo shoot and we're using a wall on the cement block. So we go to the back side of the prison block and there is a door. There is like a magical hidden door that is like inside the wall, like it's directly flat against the wall with no handle. The coffee shop worker grabs a crowbar that's just laying on the ground, pries open the door, puts down a doorstop and goes, here you go. And it's just a dark staircase leading to nowhere. All right, cool. I'm straight dead. Oh my God, everything's fine. It's a huge photo studio and there's like stuff everywhere. There's like this eating area and there's this huge wall full of like the paper rolls that you use as backgrounds, and there's the photographer and he comes up. He's super nice and super friendly, and he asks me if I'm doing the photo shoot and I say yes. So he's going through the paperwork that he had to sign. So already photographer is just 10 out of 10 stand-up guy, because he did not have any English ability whatsoever, but even he was trying to attempt to explain the contract to me where I needed to sign all that stuff. So photographer man, A+ person. You will see why he is an A+ person again later. He has this whole wall full of vintage cameras with brands I'd never even heard of or seen before. So he's going through and like showing me examples of what kind of photos all these cameras take, and it's like super cool. So like, you know, 30 minutes goes by past the start time, then like 45 minutes goes by. An hour and 30 minutes goes by. The second model showed up for her time slot to get her hair and makeup done, and no one is here, nobody's there. And so we're all just kind of sitting around twiddling our thumbs like, this is not gonna be good. So then, who should come in 2 hours past the start time than the manager and stylist, who are friggin' pissed. So the manager doesn't acknowledge anybody in the room, goes straight up to the photographer and starts talking at rapid speeds, and the photographer is very much like, okay, so please come over here as not to disturb other people and let's talk. So they go off and they start talking. The stylist comes up and there's this like little desk vanity area, so she has like a trunk full of like curling irons and flat irons and her makeup trunk, and so she's setting everything up and she's ripping stuff out of this trunk, and she comes over to the models and she goes, okay, who's first? I just doesn't even ask, you know, my name, no good morning, just she goes, okay, get in the chair. So I go over, I sit in the chair, I sit down, she goes to do my hair, she brings over a curling iron, she touches my hair and goes, did you wash your hair? She turns to the manager, and them arguing is a very common theme in this story, so I'm going to be flipping back and forth between stylist and manager. It's just so you can get the full effect of what was going on. So the stylist turns to the manager and goes, why is her hair washed? Did you tell her to wash her hair? Her hair is too soft. European hair is too soft when it's freshly washed. I can't work with this hair. You want me to curl her hair? It's gonna take forever. Manager comes over in a rage. Of course I told them to wash their hair. What, you wanna work on dirty hair? That's disgusting. I'm not gonna walk around having a bunch of smelly foreign people around me. Are you kidding? You're a hairstylist. Can't you do anything with her hair except curl her hair? Are you even a hairstylist? So, you know, that just kind of goes on for a bit. And they're arguing for a little while, and then the stylist decides to just braid my hair, put my hair up in braids and stick in the kanzashi. Because my hair was long enough, that was pretty easy. And so she does my hair, puts in the kanzashi, she comes over to me, goes, okay, where's your makeup bag? I don't know what to say at this point. I simply... Stylist, why don't you have any makeup? That's so irresponsible. Why didn't you bring any makeup with you? Manager chimes in. What? You're the makeup artist. You're the hairstylist and the makeup artist. Don't you have any makeup? Why would they need to bring their own makeup? Models never bring their own makeup to a photo shoot. Stylist, look at her. Do you see her skin? Why do you think I have any makeup that matches her skin? Her skin is too pale. Just look at her. Manager, I can see her skin color. I'm not blind, but you must be the incompetent one here because you are the makeup artist and you don't have any makeup that matches her. Are you crazy? Photographer, A+ boy, A+, 10 out of 10, yes person, chimes in and goes, hey, we do not have time for this. Her hair is done, it looks great, let's take the photo. If you need me to do something in Photoshop later, I have the capability to do that, but your arguing is not helping the situation here, so let's just move on to the next model and get her hair done. I'm thinking the photographer must have worked with these people before because he seemed completely unfazed by this whole situation, but it was just, he's, again, very grateful for him. You will see again why later. We go over to the shooting area, and so the photographer is bringing down different backgrounds to see which color looks best. Chose orange. Sure, okay. And then who else should walk in but the CEO of the steel company and his wife. So they come in and the manager goes over to them and basically starts groveling because everything is just tits up at this point. The CEO comes over and the manager's talking with him. The wife just goes over and starts talking with the models and the hairstylist, all chummy-like and whatever. And so the photographer talks to me and he says, okay, like I got the color, we're ready to go, I got the lights, so can you just take your shirt down around your shoulders and we'll start taking photos. The CEO is looking at the monitor at all of the test shots that we have taken, and he turns to the photographer and starts bitching at the photographer going, why are these pictures so bad? These are horrible pictures. Look at the model, she's not relaxed. You can't even see the kanzashi in these photos. Like, you want me to pay you for these photos? Photographer, again, must have worked with these people before. Very calmly says to him, those were the test shots, we haven't even started yet. If you look at her now, this is the position that we're going to have her in so that you can see the kanzashi, and this is her pose. CEO says nothing and kind of stares at me, not happy, and he goes, why isn't she relaxed? She's turning to the photographer going, why isn't she relaxed? She looks really distressed. Why does she look distressed? Thinking that he is not the reason for my distressed state, but you know. And so the photographer says like, okay, just like let me do my thing. Please go over to the manager and stop disrupting me, and you can come look at the photos later. And so, you know, he does like a bunch of burst shots and he's going through and telling me how to move my shoulders. So then the CEO comes back over and looks at the monitor and all the pictures and he goes, why does she look like a porn star? And so everybody stops and looks at me. All the models are like looking at each other. The stylist looks absolutely horrified. His wife is just kind of sitting there like, huh? And so the photographer chimes in and goes, what are you talking about? And the CEO goes, like, who decided to have everyone's shirt off of their shoulders? That's too sexy. That looks like a porn set. And why does she have a hickey on her neck? I don't know if you'll be able to see this. This is what he was referring to. Clearly, this is a birthmark. Everyone stops what they're doing and is absolutely horrified. And so the manager starts yelling at the stylist again, going, why did you choose the side of her face that has a hickey? Can't you see anything? What are you, blind? The stylist chimes in and goes, well, it's not my fault that she's a whore and has a hickey. How am I supposed to know she has a hickey? The photographer, A+ boy, chimes in and goes, that's clearly not a hickey, and I can Photoshop it out. Don't worry, none of this, all the flaws that you're seeing will not be in the final image. Everyone, please relax. You know, I've never seen a perfectly tan uniform hickey. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. And so the manager and the stylist are still like just yelling at each other. Clearly they had a problem prior to this. Maybe they were business partners and they were dating and boinking each other. That came full circle. So then the CEO goes back over to the manager and he starts yelling there, and all three of them are just yelling at each other. I'm on the verge of tears. The photographer comes up to me, he goes, okay, I'm gonna put you in a position, just stay there, I'll take some photos, then you're done. So he moves my shoulders again and moves my head again, you know, and tries to like calm me down, runs back, takes a burst of photos, and he comes up and says, okay, you're done. Please go home. So I go over to the table where they are keeping all the different kanzashi because they were shooting a bunch of different designs. I take it out, I put it on the table. The wife of the CEO comes over to me and super smiley and very nicely says, thank you very much for letting us use your photo. Yeah, sure, whatever. Just, I want to go home. Can you call me a taxi? They gave me 30 bucks and they don't even use that photo anymore. They got different photos taken and from the same photo shoot, they use everyone else's photo except mine. The moral of the story, don't do anything for free. Do it for 30 bucks and emotional trauma. Goodbye.